How's it going, you? My name is Wally, and welcome back to another film review. I know it's been a little bit since I've done one of these, as I've stated in a previous video that I'm currently in the process of moving. And when you're in that process of moving, it's kind of hard to find the time to sit down and set up your microphone and camera to make a YouTube video. As you know, the process of moving requires you moving furniture out of your home. And, how am I going to make stuff if I don't have furniture to set it on? It's been pretty hard to make a video. On top of that, I do have a side job, and it's been so far a pretty busy summer. And is why my time to make these videos have been a bit lackluster, so I apologize for that. But you know what? I like to have time to settle down and watch the things I love. This summer has had a lot of things coming out that I've been wanting to see and talk about. And since my last upload, actually, I've gone to see a number of those things and would absolutely love to talk about it. So within the next week or so, look forward to those reviews. Not going to spoil what those reviews will be about, but I guarantee you, if you're a nerd just as much as I am, and knowing what the state of the internet is like with all the new things coming out, you would know, maybe you have a good feeling on what it is I'd like to talk about. And one of the first things is the live-action How to Train Your Dragon remake, which is what today's review will be about. So, without any further ado, let's get into that. So, How to Train Your Dragon. It is a franchise that a lot of us, myself included, absolutely love and adore. That first movie especially is one of the most beloved animated films of all time. It is just, a piece of just absolute art. We all know it. We all love it. From everything from its animation, now being released 15 years ago, still holds up really well. Its music, its characters, its story and world building. Everything about this trilogy is really thought out and really good. How to Train Your Dragon is the reason I'm into cinema, really. It taught me what a good movie looks like with its sense of scale and world building and storytelling. It's all well thought out and just absolutely well executed. Dean DeBlois and Chris Sanders know how to make a good movie. And they did well. They did incredibly well with this movie, and it stands as one of my favorites of all time. So when it came news that they were making a live-action movie, I was actually pretty cautiously optimistic about it. And I can't really say that for a lot of live-action remakes, really, especially Disney, with the way they execute their live-action remakes. It's just not the way I want my movies delivered, especially if you're just copying and pasting, which even then is still debatable. Not even debatable, it's just flat out not really the same, in my opinion. Taking the original, which is so well crafted with its animation, and can only really be done in that format for movies like Lilo and Stitch and The Lion King and, all these great classic Disney films that, are classics because they're animation. We love them because they're animated. So taking all that magic and translating into live action really sucks the magic out by a lot. So, not really a fan when I see something like that happen. However, when it came to How to Train Your Dragon, I figured, hey, I know I'm probably really biased because this is my favorite movie of all time. So, I want to give it the benefit of the doubt. And, maybe I was right on doing that because there was actually a lot of things going for this movie that makes it seem that it would be a better live action remake than most. For one, the original director, Dean DeBlois, returned to direct the live-action film. Good. That's already very promising. You got John Powell, the composer of the 3 movies, coming back to compose this film. Awesome sauce. The music, once again, the best part of those movies. And even, really just one actor came back to reprise his role. But you know what? Great actor nonetheless. Gerard Butler coming back to play a stoic. Really good to see. We all love to see it. All these things makes it clear that this live action film has some heart being put into it. If you got some original creatives that were involved with the first movie, coming back to be a part of this live action film, there's some heart being put in there. And that's what I like to see. I love it when a movie or show, whether it's good or bad, at least you get to see that it has heart being put into it. And that's honestly very evident when it comes to the live action film. And that's honestly the biggest positive I can give about the live action film is that you can definitely tell there was heart put into it. Now, does that mean that it was good? Not all the way. Of course, whether this movie came out or not, the original, I love the original just that much, and I'm sure a lot of us do. And we can say that for a lot of animated films that had live action remakes. We just prefer the original because the original has that sense of wonder and creativity and just storytelling and narrative that is well executed in that medium in animation that you can't really convey well in live action. And when in live action How to Train Your Dragon, while they absolutely did do their best, there's just a lot of things that hold it back from being at least something great. And maybe you can take that as a good or bad thing. And I would say it's still a better live action remake than most other live action remakes, really. Because it is really just a copy and paste of the original. And that can be a whole argument right there with like why make the original, or why make a remake if you're just gonna copy and paste the original. Well, to that I tell you, I mean, wouldn't you really prefer that? I mean, you don't really want to take an original story and just change it completely and have a bastardized version of the original. Like it's a really, making live action movies is messy, and maybe the best bet is just to not make one. But of course, maybe these studios can't really help themselves, so they just kind of make them regardless. But like I said, How to Train Your Dragon is honestly, the live action remake is better than most. If not, I would say it probably is the best because it is a 1-to-1 of the original. And what do we like about the original? Once again, great characters, great animation, dragons are awesome, good story, all that good jazz. Is that well conveyed in the live action? No. Because it's live action, there's a lot of things that are missing and just really aren't well executed. Like the animation is able to get away with a lot of slapstick humor and a lot of like pacing stuff. Because it's animation, you're able to control a lot. Because it's animation, you're able to control anything you can with it because it's animation. When you're dealing with live action, you have to know that actors can only do so much with their acting. You can only do so much with visual effects and CGI. It's challenging, And while I believe Dean DeBlois did his absolute best, it just lacks in that that department of just having that same oomph, that same magic that the original had, And that's usually that's kind of the biggest consensus to take away from the remake, is that you just can't really compete with the original. And I think that's really evident with this movie. And while I do think it's the best live action remake we've gotten, I see this movie and I'm like, you know what? I think it is all but confirmed that animation should just be left at that. Don't mess with it. It's already perfect the way it is. We don't need to have live action remakes all the time. And I can definitely see that the team did their best when it comes to this film. The set pieces are great. The actors that are involved with it definitely did their part, especially the lead of the film, Mason Thames, playing as Hiccup, who looks and sounds the part really well. Nico Parker, who plays Astrid, also really good stuff there. There's some cool, innovative stuff that were done in the live action that are cool to see. But, what's worth making a whole live action movie just to do a few things differently when I could just watch the original, And, that's usually the whole consensus about this movie. Really mixed. Not horrendously bad, not offensive or anything. Just kind of, if anything, maybe a love letter to the original, and I can respect that a lot. Actually, they got Toothless right. They got the relationship between Hickam and Toothless well. It's the main selling point of Dragons, really, is Toothless, and they did that well here in the live action film. Toothless is still lovable, still awesome, still badass. The flying scenes are still really fun and exhilarating. Even though, you just can't really do the same amount of pacing and, all that with live act. And you just can't, once again, you just can't convey that to live action really well. You can only do so much with it. But yeah, that's usually my whole thoughts when it comes to live action, How to Train Your Dragon. I respect it for what it is. Do not wish to see more of it. And I think it should just be kept at that, Not horrendously bad, and honestly, not too much to say about it. Otherwise, I'll just be going in circles a lot. That's kind of my review when it comes to How to Train Your Dragon. and it's live action remake. Love the original. While a live action remake definitely was not necessary, the people behind it felt like they wanted to do something special, and I think they did a good job at that. But it definitely confirms that, hey, not everything is going to look well when you translate it into live action. So that's kind of my whole gist and review on it. If you wish to go see it for yourself, go ahead. If you want to see maybe a couple of new stuff added in, and ultimately a few stuff even taken away that don't make a lot of sense, I could go into my whole my expertise on the lore of dragons, because I know a lot about the films and its lore and my love for it. I can gush about that a lot, but this review would be a lot longer than it is. All I gotta let out is just for what it is. The live action film is all right. Not anything amazing, but it would be really shocking if the live action film was better than the original. So yeah, that's my whole review on live action How to Train Your Dragon, and that's really all I got to say for it. I would say go watch it if you haven't. Go watch it if you haven't. I mean, it is, as of the time of this video, it's still in theaters at the moment. So go catch it if you will. Lots of good movies out at the moment, and you'll hear my reviews on them in future videos. So look forward to those. Thank you so much for watching. Glad to be back. Glad to be talking about movies again. If you're interested, stick around. Hit the subscribe button. Let's hope you can hear me talk about it more. All these great things coming out, content and good creative stuff. So thank you. Thanks for watching. You have yourself a good one. See you later.